GameDay Garage presents The Show and the You with Jake Hasan.
Cowards.
From live bets
We're betting UCSB, full game money line.
to random calls from strangers,
Who the hell is calling you right now?
nothing is off limits, even a little self-discovery.
This is what happens when you live alone. You kind of just talk to yourself sometimes. And maybe is it a sign of developing schizophrenia? Maybe.
It's The Show and the You.
College sports. Gotta love it.
Here's Jake Hasan.
Yo, we are back, and I actually feel good as I was not up at 3:30 in the morning today. So that was really great. It is me. We're out here for like 45-ish minutes or so, and then I'm going to go outside because it's 60 degrees in the lovely city of Chicago. All right, it's 55, but it's sunny out. It's nice out. Somewhere, the worst person you know is like sitting on their couch, not listening to their partner and just saying, "Oh, no, we can't go outside. We have to watch sports. We can't go outside. I'm not going anywhere." The worst person you know is doing that. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to touch grass. And also that's because my college basketball bets have been horrible. But that's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about college baseball. We're here to talk about Major League Baseball because the next time that we talk, it'll be after opening day. A week from today, Major League Baseball games will have started. Do you know how long we've been waiting for this? Exactly since Game 7 of the World Series ended. So, that gives you a pretty good timeline. But we're here. So now we get to finally start talking about Major League Baseball lines. We get to start talking about Major League Baseball futures. Have a bunch of those to give out. Awards. We'll go through every single one of those today as well. And then, of course, the college baseball weekend bets, which I want to make sure, nothing starts soon. So we're good on that for the time being, which is lovely because we won't miss anything while we're doing this. But hello and welcome. It is GameDay Garage, the show and the you. I am Jake Hasan. You can follow me on Twitter at the Jake Hasan, on Instagram at Hasan_Jake. What else am I forgetting? GameDay Garage on all socials, hasanshacks.substack.com. Can go there for all the written work, the newsletter. I guess you want to call it a newsletter. The bets, the articles with the bets went out this morning at 6 a.m. Was right there bright and early for you in your inbox as soon as you woke up. You're welcome. I do that for you, the people. So you're welcome for that. And that's where you can find anything and everything. See that? I do want to get into something a little different today because we haven't really talked about Omaha futures or college baseball futures since the first couple of shows, since we gave out UCSB at 18-1 in the first stream, since we gave out Texas in the futures market to win it all, which, by the way, mercifully, Texas, the books have caught up. I guess not mercifully because it should have stayed at longer prices. Then we could have bet them. But I digress. But Texas now the favorite in most places, which is, we can all go to our local deli or use Uber Eats and use CLV there, right? That'll be really fun. But anyway, we'll give an update on Omaha markets because I do think there's a couple teams that are marinating, percolating, on the rise, trending up, whatever clickbaity term you want to use that we can maybe bet on. I also want to say Florida, a team that we gave out at 40-1 before the season started, and now sitting at, I should have had this before, but I don't because that's what you sign up for. Florida now sitting at 28-1. Start of the season wasn't great, but they have completely found their form. Liam Peterson has been awesome, and we will be backing him tonight in Florida's game in a money line parlay as well. And also, if you just want to lay the -150, which I think we're still sitting at there, that is also perfectly fine. He's been great. Brendan Lawson at the plate after losing a season to injury last year. He comes back in the middle of the lineup and has just been absolutely nails. So Florida at 28-1, I still actually kind of think is a bet. I think that price is going to keep coming way down. Florida tonight, out to -175. Yeah, we'll parlay them with some stuff because -175 is a lot to lay, but I don't want to get too cute and lay the run line. We will lay the run line in a couple places this weekend, starting tonight in college baseball. We'll get into all of that in just a minute. Back to what I was saying as far as load, please. Hello. Did they take the? Oh, I'm dumb because the game started. Because the game started, they ripped down to make the. But why would they leave everything else up? That's really stupid. Why would the Green Book do this? I will name names because figure it out. Is there anything in conference winner? Actually, I do want to look at. That's interesting. That's also interesting. To win the AAC, UTSA is still plus 150. Not exactly playing great baseball right now. East Carolina at plus 250, playing a lot better. We'll wait on that and see if that price gets a little longer because, I mean, you could just bet East Carolina to make the tournament or on a game-to-game basis. That doesn't make any sense. Back to the game lines it is then. I still actually, though, see this is where now that my brain is firing at full capacity, I have the capacity to just bounce around and seize any little thought that comes out of in my brain instead of just being in survival mode and trying to go on a one track all the way through. I digress. Again, got to stop saying that. That's twice now. And I'm honestly never even sure if I'm using that correctly. I'm not going to stop. But anyway, where was I? Oh, Omaha futures. UCSB, who we talked about at 18-1 before the season. Still at 10 and 11-1 at last check last night when I was kind of prepping for this show. Jackson Flora has been everything that we thought he was going to be. One of the best pitchers in the country, possibly the first pitcher taken off the board when the draft rolls around in just a couple of months, although there are some pitchers like Liam Peterson, like Wes Mendez in Florida and Florida State respectively who are really pushing the envelope there. But Flora has been insane. He's really, really good. And on the back of him on the mound, plus a lineup that has still been above average, and I still think is getting better, I still think UCSB to make a run as the at-large bid is still good hashtag value to make Omaha. I think if and when they get in, they're going to be like a 2 seed. They're probably going to be a 2 seed in UCLA's region or USC's region, assuming each of those teams hosts, which they wouldn't put both of them in the same region, though. They would split them up. Probably only one would host. Yeah, that's more likely. But either way, either UCSB is the 2 seed in UCLA's region, or they're maybe a 2 seed in Oregon State's region, in which case we would bet the hell out of UCSB to win that region. So my point being, I still think at 10-1, 11-1, the Gauchos still have some pretty decent value to make Omaha there. As far as the rest of the futures board goes, if you still haven't jumped in on the College World Series, I'm never going to tell you to bet Texas at 7-1 to win the whole thing. They're now the odds-on favorite. They've jumped up. We thought all of the value was at 16-1, 15-1. Shout out our guy Crutch, who bet them at 20-1 back in December or November, whenever that was. And now they're the favorite. So if you wanted to jump in on a long shot, as I said a couple minutes ago, Florida at 28-1 absolutely has my attention. I do also think that Florida State with their pitching at 25-1 is pretty interesting. They've been in Omaha for the last couple of years. They've been to the Final 8 the last handful of years. They're always like marinating. They're always on the precipice, and they just can't get over the hump because they lose to a Tennessee or they lose to an Arkansas. And it's not their fault that they get a crap draw and they go against the best team or the second best team in the tournament. It's not their fault. So I do think with Wes Mendez, who we mentioned earlier, their ace, and that pitching staff as a whole, and then Miles Bailey in that lineup, I do think Florida State is there's something there with the Seminoles, right? I think so. I love USC, and they're going to get a bunch of pub, and they're going to get a bunch of love. Pub and love, that sounds a lot closer to rhyming than it should, I feel like, but whatever. Mason Edwards has given up 1 run. Their ace, their Friday night starter. He goes tonight. 1 run all year long. And that was last week when he was pitching in Evanston when it was rainy and cold and windy. And as my good friend Sam Paniatovich would say, meow. I know he's not watching because he's in Vegas right now. But my point being, 1 run, 5 starts. And honestly, I think he's going to be nails tonight. If you read the Substack, hasanshacks.substack.com, by the way, which you should, which you should subscribe to because it goes out every Monday and Friday. Said it today that I think Edwards again could go 6 or 7 shutout innings against a Washington team that, even though they're 4-2 in conference, they're just okay. And after pitching in Chicago in March last weekend, now gets to go back home to USC, to Southern California. You think he might pitch a little better? I do. So even though all of that being said, I just, you need an offense to support a good pitching staff when it comes to winning the College World Series. Like, look, for example, Coastal Carolina last year. Awesome pitching staff, unbelievable pitching staff, one of the best in the country, a pitching staff which made them a top 5 team, top 10 team coming into the rankings this year. But if you don't have an offense to support it, you're going to get beat by a team like LSU, like Coastal did last year. You're going to get beat by a team like a Texas. You're going to get beat by a team like a UCLA. USC has the pitching, undoubtedly, but I just don't think that they have the offense to keep up with the big boys, with the powerhouses. So even though at 50-1 right now, SC is intriguing, and you look at the eye-popping numbers of their pitching staff, I wouldn't take them to win the College World Series. Now, if we want to talk about to make it to Omaha, that's a different conversation. Fine. I'm willing to hear that, depending on the draw, especially. Because if they end up second banana in UCLA's region, they're not winning 2 out of 3 against UCLA. Sorry. It's just not happening. Like, Rock Chalowski simply won't let that happen among the other amazing names in that UCLA lineup. Now, if they get their own region and they get a team like UCSB, who's also mostly built on pitching, it's a different story for a different day. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. 50-1 in USC is not something that I'm super strong on. The only team that really I have any interest in to win the thing in that 40-50 range, Virginia is a little interesting at 40-1. My only worry with them is first year manager. First year, even top 10 team, they've surprised. I've been very happy with, not happy because I haven't gained anything off it, but I've been pleasantly surprised by how Virginia has been able to still be a very good team, still be a top 10 team. I thought they'd completely fall apart once their manager dipped and brought most of the talent with him. But they've done a good job. So at 40-1, I do think Virginia is a little bit interesting. But again, I think that is another one where we just bet the price for them to make Omaha and make the College World Series. Let's see if does Blue Book have Omaha prices up? Let's find out. But that's the thing, because Virginia, just like USC, even though it's different, like Virginia's weakness to me isn't on the field. It's more of just manager first year, still kind of gelling, even though they've exceeded expectations for sure. Not taking that away from them at all. I just think that when push comes to shove, then again, you get to the UCLAs, you get to the Texases of the world, you get to the Arkansas of the world, even though I don't think Arkansas is going to win the College World Series. These more veteran teams who have been together longer, with the coach, manager who has been there longer. I just think that makes more sense. And those are the teams. I could be wrong, could absolutely be wrong, but I'm willing to bet that I'm not going to be wrong. So I'd rather take the prices on to make Omaha, to make a run to the Final 8. Blue Book doesn't have it up either because this place sucks. They all suck. Whatever. Oh, here it is. Oh, lovely. Okay, here we go. Never mind. I was being a baby for nothing. Shocker. Kind of happens a lot. My bad. All right. Who was I saying? Okay. You can still get, as I scroll and I scroll and I scroll, Virginia 4-1 to make Omaha, to make the College World Series. UCSB still sitting at 10-1 as well. And USC. Ooh, this is going to be a nice price, I think. unless I can't read, which, up for debate. I don't see. Hello? It has to be down. They must have ripped it. There's no way. Unless I'm just not seeing them, which is possible. Hello? Why is this not up? Oh, there it is. Also 4-1. I can't read. My bad. Okay. So Virginia, USC, 4-1 to make the College World Series. I don't think those are terrible bets. Those are bets that are only going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. So I think that you could, especially the USC price. I think the USC price, as they continue to beat up on some of those lower tier teams, because right now the Big Ten is UCLA, Oregon, and USC. Man, if only there was a conference for West Coast based teams where they could all be together and play each other. If only there was something like that. But surely not. Surely that idea has been, submitted before. Floated before. Anyway, that's the end of the joke. So yeah, that concludes our college baseball futures. Let's get into the actual games for college baseball. I have a ton of stuff that I like today. I'm going to say this, and this is our weekly Jake rambles on about the Texas Longhorns. Even though they're the favorite, even though we could just sit back with our futures and we could kick our feet up, I still want to bet this games because I'm watching the games and this team is a lot of fun. Now, Texas, they lost last Friday night and we liked them a lot. We got absolutely pantsed last weekend. I'm not going to lie, people. Wake Forest, Texas in that Friday night game, some of those overs and unders, what else do we have? We were wrong about a lot of stuff. It wasn't great. But we keep running it back. We keep trying. We keep going. My point being, bring it back on Texas tonight. Tonight and again on Sunday against Auburn. I think we may have had a little bit of a look ahead with Texas. Both last weekend when they lost on Friday and then they went on to win Saturday and Sunday and win the series still. But they also lost their midweek this week to Tarleton State. You could give me 1,000 guesses. You could give me 10,000 guesses on where Tarleton State is. And I don't think I would get there. Definitely not in 1,000, maybe 10,000. That's a lot. But I don't think I would get there. And I'm only going to guess that their team colors are purple because every time one of these plucky teams comes up and makes an upset, it's purple. Hello, High Point. There's your March Madness reference. Anyway, I like Texas. I like them tonight. Ruger Riojas last week against Ole Miss wasn't great. Got knocked around the first real time he stumbled so far this year. I think there's a good bounce back potential for him. This is on the road with Texas, so that is a little bit scary because this is their first not true road test, but their biggest test of the year, and it comes on the road. So you would really think like top 5 team on the road, not a great situation for Texas, but I'm still going to back them. You could get Texas minus 135. I think that's a pretty cheap price. If you don't want to lay the minus 135, pair them with your favorite college basketball side tonight. Pair them with one of the other college baseball bets. Pair it with something in the NBA if for whatever reason you're paying attention to the NBA. Although I guess people could counter and say, well, you're paying attention to college baseball. Who's the real weirdo here? 9 times out of 10, it is me. I will hand up admit that, but almost said it. That would have been 3 and I would have been really mad, but I caught myself. We move on. I'm also going to like Texas Sunday. I skip Saturday because I don't really believe in that Texas is going to sweep. If there was going to be one game that they were going to lose, it would probably be tomorrow. But then Sunday, I think they go Texas, Auburn, Texas. Because I think Rojas, a shoe, please. I'm trying to do a show here. But I would say Riojas bounces back tonight after he got a little roughed up against Ole Miss. Luke Harrison, who has been, even though he's been really good, hasn't been as good as the other 2 starters on the staff. And then on Sunday, it's Dylan Volantis time. This kid has been lights out. And if Navarro Rojas being as good as he has been and taking the step forward, the leap forward, step is honestly disrespectful. The gargantuan leap he's taken forward this year, Volantis might be the Friday night guy. Freshman of the year last year, like 1.2 ERA out of the bullpen last year, makes the jump seamlessly from the bullpen into a starting role for Texas. Honestly, when we get to the tournament, it has to be Rojas and it has to be Volantis. Luke Harrison's good, but man, like I don't know how you watch Volantis, and I'm probably the only person that has been watching Volantis on a week-to-week basis, but that's neither here nor there. It has to, he has talent oozing out of every single pore of his body. It's bananas what this kid can do on a mound. So Texas on Sunday, obviously it's Friday right now. It's Friday at 2:50 p.m. So we don't have the line for Sunday. We barely have the lines for Friday because it's college baseball and these lines come out super slowly. But all of that to say, I like Texas tonight. I think 135 is a very cheap price to play. And if you want to pair that with Florida on the money line, minus 175 with Liam Peterson, who's been awesome. Florida also goes on the road. So we take 2 road favorites and hopefully we just win. It's scary, but I think Texas and Florida is a really good bet. That's plus 173 right now. I like both of those. I like them individually. If you have the cojones to lay minus 135 or hell, even minus 175, more power to you. I think that parlay, 2-team money line parlay also works, but I also played a little Texas on their own minus 135 tonight against Auburn, Texas. I got there. Don't worry. This one is very funny to me. I like Florida State on the run line, and that right now is sitting at, I just saw it. I just scrolled past it. I've started doing a side screen with the odds board because this laptop, if you all remember, is like almost as old as I am, 28 years old, by the way, and a half. Oh my God, it's almost my half birthday. And it's like, okay, that can wait till next week because it's 10 days away from my half birthday. I don't know why I got so excited about that. That was weird. Back to Florida State. They are sitting right now at, could this be any slower? There we go. This is also a top 10 matchup. This is back in Tallahassee. This is in Florida State, at Florida State. And I like the run line here. I'm going to get cute with the run line. I like minus 1.5. It's minus 105. And I think, again, this goes back to somebody I mentioned before. Wes Mendez for Florida State. Mind you, he's the reason we got our under in Wake Forest and Florida State last week because we had under 11.5. Florida State scores 10 runs in the first 3 innings, but Mendez goes 7 shutout so that their mercy rule kicks in. The game ends after 7, and we somehow mercifully get the under because everything else was absolute crap last week. But that was one of our few ones. Reed Phillips-Rad, my man, how are you? Starting at the beginning at 1.5 speed. Don't do that. Just wait. 1.5 speed. I can't. Maybe this is a me problem. I can't. You people who go 1.5 speed or God forbid 2 times speed on podcasts, on TikToks, on Instagram reels. How is your brain not coming out of your ears? I talk fast enough as it is, and I have a million different thoughts that come out in a 60-second span as it is. And you want a 1.5 speed that? You want a 2 times speed that? What? Maybe it's a me problem, as most things in my life are, but I'm just saying that's banana land to me. Maybe it's a superpower. I don't know. More credit to you guys, I guess. Reed Phillips-Rad, regardless, happy to have you here. My man, a day one over from definitely not Bet Slips and Bat Flips. RIP to that show. Pretty sure there's a SWAT team knocking on my door right now. But anyway, never mind. They don't have the money for that. Anyway, Florida State, minus 1.5. That's minus 105. I think that's a really good price. Mendez on the mound. That was a road start at Wake Forest last week, mind you, when he went 7 shutout. 11 Ks in that one too, by the way. So Mendez on the mound, back on his home turf. The guy's allowed 2 runs all year, 23 strikeouts in his last 2 starts. Now he's back home. NC State is a top 10 team, and I like them, but their offense is very volatile. They're not consistently putting up 10, 12, 15 runs. Hell, they're not even consistently putting up 5, 6, 7 runs. 6, 7. Anyway. This is the Wolfpack's first true road series as well, going to a very hostile Florida State environment. I think this is going to be bad news. Is Florida State even in the basketball tournament? They're not, right? So not a whole lot else going on in Tallahassee. They are probably going to be packing the house there for their ace Mendez and this baseball team, which is really, really good. Really quick, back to Florida, because I do have we're going to call this the Gator Max parlay. The first half of this is not a Jakey Rakes original. Shout out to Colby Marcio at Colby M Bets on Twitter. This is courtesy of him. The men's basketball team for Florida tonight, over 94.5 or over 95.5. I got 95.5. Woohoo. Got the worst number. Go me. But if you want a Gator Max parlay, Florida tonight, basketball, over 95.5 points, team total, paired with Florida on the money line tonight at Alabama. Again, this goes back to Liam Peterson. He's been awesome. Rough first start, but has gotten better and better each week, and maybe had his best start, probably definitely his best start of the year last year when he went 6 innings, 1 hit, 10 Ks. Really good. Now, I'm a little scared of the road start. First road start for Peterson. That is a little scary, especially with a lineup like Alabama's, especially with someone like Justin LeBron in the lineup. But I like Peterson. I like the money line. The money line's minus 175. So if you want a Gator Max with me and parlay the men's basketball team of Florida tonight, team total over, and pair that with Florida baseball on the money line tonight, it's about 2-1 on that parlay, which I do think is good #value. And I'm going to try and do more bits like this. And I can't stop adding max or maxing to the end of things. It makes me laugh every time. I've been Dune maxing for like 3 days. So tonight with our bets, Gator maxing. Let's get it. Hate that I said that. Please take that out. Moving on. I think this run line is up. Let me just choose that. Not choose that. Check that. Okay. It's a big number, and I think that's okay. As I mentioned, Mason Edwards for USC, maybe the best pitcher in the country so far this year. He's been awesome, has allowed 1 singular run all year long, and that was last week in Chicago. Well, it's, you know what? I should stop giving Northwestern credit. It's not Chicago, it's Evanston. But my point being, cold, windy, snowy. It was gross out. And this guy allowed 1 singular run. Now back in his home turf, on his home turf, South Carolina. Nope, Jake. That's the complete opposite coast. Ding. Anyway, back in Southern California, the run line is minus 4.5. It's a little scary, but you do get plus money. And I do think that Edwards, once again, is probably going to go and give up only 1, maybe 2 runs. Like, the Washington Huskies baseball team is not some behemoth. Like, let's go and look at their team totals for the last couple of days. And this is actually loading much faster than I thought it would. Usually if you look up a team's baseball page, Notre Dame's is horrid, by the way. Almost gave me an aneurysm. But when you look at the schedule for Washington baseball, back to that, this is actually, again, going pretty well for them. They're 4-2 in conference, and that's been surprising, but the Big Ten is not good. They're 9-11 overall. They're just 6-4 at home. They've won 3 in a row. Woohoo. But I mean, this Washington team shut out by NC State, shut out by Wake Forest, shut out by Boston College, put up 7 against Houston. That was on a neutral. Beat Lamar 8-3, lost to Lamar 7-1, put up 6. Seattle University, Femi Abebefe, is that a real thing? Okay. Put up 11 against Seattle University. Lost 9-4, San Diego State. Put up 2 against San Diego State. You see where I'm going with this? It's not exactly the best offense that has ever been known to man. So why did they play so many games against Seattle University? What is happening here? Anyway, the point being, when they played actual good pitchers, like the NC States of the world, the Wake Forests of the world, it didn't go great. So going against possibly the best pitcher in the country, Mason Edwards, I think laying 4.5 on the run line to get plus money especially is perfectly fine with USC tonight. I have no problem laying that. I do like, and I want to make sure I get the line movement right on this, and this is also a late game. I'm going to go against, speaking of elite pitchers in the country, I'm going to go against one tonight. I'm going to go against Dax Whitney. You guys know how I feel about Oregon State. I think they're fraudulent. They are completely wasting the talent of Whitney and Saturday starter Ethan Kleinschmidt. Oregon State's kind of figured it out. They have been playing better. I'll admit that. But UC Irvine at plus 185, and even you could get plus 2.5 runs at minus 125. I think that's a complete misprice too. So if the almost 2-1 money line doesn't tickle you enough, go with the run line. Take the minus 125 and you get 2 runs. I think that's a really good price. But my point being, UC Irvine already has a couple of ranked wins. They beat Vanderbilt, they beat Oregon, and now they host Oregon State. I think this is a really good spot to take a pretty decently sized dog on the money line at home on a Friday night. Irvine can put up some runs. Whitney is awesome. There's going to be no gray area here. Either Irvine wins like 5-2, or they lose like 2-0 or 2-1. Because Whitney just goes nuclear like he has been all year long. Again, no shade to him. He's great. But I think there's an opportunity, because it's going to be a big number, to make a bet here. And that'll be UC Irvine for me. I love that bet, actually. I wrote in the Substack that I was marinating on that. Full go. Plus 185 is an insane price on that. Let's just look at the board and see if there's anything else that pops out to me. I mean, Hawaii better than 2-1 against UCSB. Hawaii on the road, and it's Flora. I don't want anything to do with that. I got to stop losing money on Oklahoma. I would love to try and make something happen with Oklahoma. Make something happen. How would I make something happen with Oklahoma? That doesn't make sense. But Mercurius, who we like, their Saturday starter, he's been very good. But LSU, after last night, maybe they're figuring something out. They have the talent. That'll just be a fact-finding mission, that Oklahoma LSU game. I don't want to get in front of that train. I'm tempted to take Kentucky. Ole Miss did get a little bit of a bailout. I'm glad I stayed away from that Kentucky game. Crutch talked me off of that, which I very much appreciate. Because Hunter Elliott came back for Ole Miss. It was his first start. If you aren't familiar with Hunter Elliott, he was their Friday night starter last year. He's very, very good. He has been out up to this point in the season with an injury, and now he just came back, and he was awesome for Ole Miss last night. But Kentucky on the road, dogs, I think they're the better team. Yeah, nothing else really jumps out here. There's been no line movement that makes me want to make a bet. So I think that's going to be it, kids. I think the Florida Max, the Gator Maxing parlay, Texas, I still really like at minus 135. No, don't do it. Just, Jake, just walk away. Just walk away. Yeah, we're going to walk away. That's it. I'm good. I'm normal and can be trusted with normal things. All right, we got like 10 minutes left. And I want to make sure, because the next time that we talk, it'll officially be opening day. It'll officially be Major League Baseball season. And I'll get into this more in the Substack next week with awards. But I want to go through Major League Baseball awards because I do have some thoughts. Of course, let's address the elephant in the room. In 2 of these markets, you have 4 massive favorites who are awesome and are your reigning winners. Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Paul Skeens, Tariq Skubal. And I do think it's somewhat of a fool's errand to go against these guys. Unless you want to take 1 or 2 shots and you think 1 or 2 of them might be vulnerable. And in this case, I do actually have a couple of thoughts and a couple of bets that I am going to make in these awards markets, because I do think Aaron Judge is worth going against, because two-time winner now, back-to-back reigning. So now we're getting into the territory of, is there going to be voter fatigue? I think so. And also, Aaron Judge has shown, and credit to him, baseball is way more fun when he's on the field, but Aaron Judge has shown a shocking amount of durability over the last 2 years. I thought the elbow injury last year was going to take him out of the running completely, and I thought that Cal Raleigh or Tariq Skubal or somebody else was going to kick open the door and take that award from him. Credit to him, he only missed a couple of weeks. He missed about 10 games, came back, and still just kept on hitting. But that injury last year is a microcosm of the Aaron Judge experience. You're never comfortable. Anytime he chases down a fly ball, anytime he has hard contact, anytime he's running something, it's tough. Anytime he dives for a ball, you hold your breath. So now, as he continues to get older and into his 30s, cue the Joe Buck meme of 31 years old, the oldest player in the league, a miracle. Anyway, I'm willing to go against Aaron Judge. Now, I'm not just going to say, oh, Bobby Witt Jr., 5-1. No. If we're going to do this, let's take a shot. It's obviously not Cal Raleigh at 11-1, because I don't think he's going to put up 60 home runs again. And he didn't win last year when he did do that. So we go to a couple of guys that I think are hashtag interesting. I think the Roman Anthony experience is real. I think and Kobe Marshall hates this take. Oh, why are we overhyping this guy? Because he's really good. And at 20-1, I think is the best price we're going to get on Anthony for MVP. He can do it all. He steals bases. He hits for powers. Did you see what he did in the World Baseball Classic? A couple of those games, the U.S. won because of him, especially against the Dominican Republic. So Roman Anthony, I think, is a bet at a long price, 20-1. It's worth a little shot. And then the other one always has to be Julio Rodriguez. Another guy that, Julio could go 40 home runs, 30 stolen bases. He could go 40-40 even. So I think the best price on him right now is 17-1 I see on Julio. I think that's way good. Remember when this guy was the second favorite a couple years ago? Like he put up his best career season by wins above replacement last year. He's only getting better, and the Mariners at least now continue to put protection around him. So I think Judge could be vulnerable. We could look back on this in 2 months, 3 months and say, wow, what a dumb take, Jake. You're an idiot. I know that already, which is why we're not taking the top of the board. If we're going to take a shot, let's take a shot with some guys at 17 and 20-1. And that's it. We're not going to add throughout the year. If somebody pops, if somebody, let's just pick a name in the trip. Like if it's not Cody Bellinger, but if God, all these names stink. I don't know. For argument's sake, let's just say if George Springer pops at 80-1 and he rockets down the board up the board and comes up at 10-1 after a couple of weeks, a couple of months. I'm not going to jump on that. If you like George Springer at 81, I don't have to be the one that's saying, all right, we can only bet Roman Anthony at 20 or Julio at 17. If you like someone further down the board here, if you like Yordan Alvarez at 35-1, the Isaac Trotter special, as I like to call it, if you like Riley Green at 80-1, great. But that's going to be my way to attack these favorites in the awards markets is let's pick one or two guys and let's maybe try to beat them, because we're probably not, but we might as well make it worth our while with the prices. That's what I'm saying with this, which also brings me next to National League MVP. It's March 20th, and Shohei Ohtani is minus 140 to win this award. Minus 140, minus 150 at the Green Book. Sure, we could bet Ronnie at 10-1. We could bet Soto at 11-1. I think the only bet for me, Skeens at 28-1. I guess. Is it the best price? No. Oh, there's a 35-1 on Skeens actually is not bad. Okay. These things are correlated. I already bet the Pirates at 12-1 to win the NL Central. That was in the Substack, hasansacks.substack.com months ago. If we think that the Pirates could maybe surprise because, they're actually fielding a major league roster by trading for Brandon Lau, signing Ryan O'Hearn, maybe they have Connor Griffin on the opening day roster. Jared Jones comes back from injury. Bubba Chandler's awesome behind Skeens. Mitch Keller's a great number 4 in that case. If we think the Pirates can be competitive and maybe win that crap division, who gets the credit? Probably Skeens. Does he win? I mean, this would be his second Cy Young, so still within the zeitgeist of not having voter fatigue yet. We know pitchers can win this award. That's Justin Verlander from 15 years ago calling. Skeens at 35-1, I think, is actually not a bad price if you want to try and beat Ohtani. Again, this is back to taking big numbers. Skeens at 35 isn't something that I hate. Everyone, God, if Jackson Chourio could ever figure it out, 50-1's a great price on him too. Yeah. I mean, if he could ever, he showed flashes again in the World Baseball Classic, but those things generally aren't correlated, just like a Trey Turner from a couple of years ago. But if I was going to try and beat Ohtani, don't hate Skeens at 35-1. And I mean, Nando at 19-1 is always going to be interesting as well. He's a guy that can go 40-40 because that's what you get. If you're going to try and beat Judge, Ohtani, guys that can set records, you need other people that can do the same thing. 40-40. Historic numbers like Skeens. I think that's something that you have to look at. Now, I just gave the case for Skeens MVP. I only have one guy to try and go against Skeens in the Cy Young market, and it's because it's 20-1. Man, Logan Webb, I love him. Always just a tank, eating innings like it's nobody's business, like the Ezekiel Elliott meme from years ago. Like Logan Webb, and it's 20-1 still. I think that's a great price. The guy's upped his strikeout numbers over the last couple of years too. She's just an absolute dog. Is it probably Skeens again, especially if we think it's within the realm of outcomes for him to win MVP? Sure. But I'm never going to bet Skeens at plus 240. I'd rather just bet the 35-1 for MVP. So I'll take one singular person to try and beat Skeens in the NL Cy Young market. I think it's Logan Webb, just especially with the defense behind him of Matt Chapman and Willie Adames. We won't talk about the other side of that infield. I mean, Bryce Eldridge could be good, and that's why we bet him for NL Rookie of the Year. But I think Webb, somebody who's been trajectory up for 3 or 4 years now, could maybe finally break through in that one. AL Cy Young, I'm actually going to go back to the well with Hunter Brown. I think Scooble, you kind of saw it a little bit in the World Baseball Classic. Guy got touched up by Great Britain. And granted, he wasn't super locked in. He said he approached it like an all-star game. Thanks. Awesome. Whatever. But I think for a guy who's had more innings thrown in the last 2 years than most of his career combined prior to that, I do think that Scooble might be a little bit vulnerable, especially he might get traded. So I'll go back to the well with Hunter Brown. That's 12-1. I believe that is the best price on him. I think that's still fine. He's still trending way up. Hunter Brown 15-1 is the best price on him. And the only other one would be Brian Wu at 17-1, another guy that's been trending up. I don't have anyone super down the board for AL Cy Young. Like Nathan Eovaldi, I'd love to say yes, but guy can never stay healthy. So that's mostly a 0. And listen, AL Rookie of the Year, you know how I feel. I still think that Kevin McGonigal, who has now come back to 5-1, I think that's right. Carter Jensen is another one at plus 550. Some of these guys down the lineup, like Samuel Basayo, 11-1, not going to play enough. Chase DeLauder, don't know if he could stay healthy. Dylan Beavers is a little interesting at 15-1, but I'm willing to wait and see how much the Orioles play him before we do that. Travis Bazzana, 20-1. It got sent to AAA, isn't going to make the team. So I think we can wait on AL Rookie of the Year, but if you want to make a bet now, McGonigal and Jensen would be my bets there. And NL, I still think it's Eldridge, 19-1. That's where I find the most hashtag value here because he's surrounded by pitchers. And Sale Stewart at 13-1, I have a little interest in, but I'd rather bet Eldridge. That does it. There's going to be more on the Substack, hasansacks.substack.com. we can find more of this stuff and we'll flesh it out more over the week. Happy hunting. Good luck. Good luck with your bets on baseball and basketball. And we will see you in the Substack on Monday. And we'll see you right back here after it'll be opening day next week. Bye.